You see, the story goes that His Majesty the King now no longer takes any direct calls or indeed answers any letters from his youngest son, the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry. And a lot of people are suggesting, well, that's terrible. You shouldn't cut him off, all that sort of stuff. But as ever, we have the inside track, and I can tell you exactly the reason behind that alleged cut-off. As ever, let me explain. Morning, nice to see you. Thank you so much as ever for your time today. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Families create problems, don't they? There's no two ways about it. And when you think about it, there you have Prince Harry recently back on screen over here in the United Kingdom attacking his family. He couldn't bring himself, of course, to say he wished his sister-in-law, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, all the best, just refused to speak about her. And I understand that it creates one way or another. But on the other side of the coin, there was an envelope there that you could have said, absolutely, it's a horrific time she's gone through, and perhaps that might have led a few doors, a few ways forward. You see that? But apparently, no, that couldn't be done. What's interesting, though, is that Harry and, of course, Meghan, their team, who have direct access to the tabloid magazine over in America, well, basically, they just want to get these stories out because, of course, they're just pushing ahead, trying to get all the things that they want, whether that be extra money, funding, security, and, of course, the deal that they really wanted, which was the half in, half out. Meghan sees this as a way, of course, of rebranding herself so that she can have royal duties without any of the work, the prestige of the title, and, of course, still the association. Now, some people might suggest that His Majesty the King is soft. I've told you before, I've never felt that with King Charles. I think he can be firm when he wants to be, and he can be very forgiving too. Whatever you think, and whatever you think about the Duke of York, his younger brother, Prince Andrew, he's kept a distance, but of course held out the hand of friendship. That's his prerogative, that's his family. But the simple true reason why His Majesty the King doesn't want to take any calls is simply stress levels. He's been advised by his doctor not to have any more stress and to just take things one by one. Harry, of course, creates an abundance of stress. Every time he's made a call, according to that source, the King's very upset, agitated and full of anxiety and worry about whether he's done the right or the wrong thing. You can imagine, right? So here's where it gets even more complicated, because you see Queen Camilla as well is very concerned about her husband, as one can imagine. There you have a woman who's trying to battle on with royal duties in a life that she's still trying to become accustomed to, alongside her husband who's working through cancer, let's not forget. And then you've got the youngest son blithering on about security, his problems, all the things that have not been achieved or concluded with his wife Meghan Markle. But the biggest factor, and this is the big factor, is simply Charles and Camilla know that any correspondence could be used in a TV documentary, an interview, it could be leaked out, and certainly they can't afford the lurid idea of having a conversation on a phone call that can be secretly recorded. They also know this 100%, that Meghan Markle, whenever Harry calls, is in the room. There's no two ways about it. And it's interesting, isn't it, when you think of just how dumb Harry is, because, of course, she's pushing him to call, his father and sort things out. Why doesn't he reverse that back and say, hey, sister, how about you calling your father and sorting things out on his 80th birthday? But seemingly, as ever with Meghan, it's a one-way street. And that truly, forget all the tabloid headlines and all the sensationalists, it's, the King, he doesn't need the stress. William doesn't want him to have the stress, and he has the final say now on who has direct contact with his father. He's taken on a lot of that role, a lot of that duty, and rightly so, people would say. So for Harry thinking he can just pick up the phone at any given point or send a letter and expect a response within moments, well, those days are over, and it's all down to one person. Well, two if you want to count Harry, but literally just one, and that's the wife. So Harry, if you can't get hold of your father, think exactly how she's treated her father, and maybe you'll understand exactly the hole you're now in. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.